My name's Andy Savage. I'm an attorney. I practice out of Charleston. I've been practicing for 51 years now, and it's been a long journey, but a wonderful journey with a lot of people who helped me along the way. You know, if I think about it, 55 years ago, I was driving a cab in New York City and just struggling to get by. And then one day I get this wonderful letter from the University of South Carolina School of Law saying that I was worthy of traveling down south and furthering my education.
He came from New York, and he was a cab driver in New York for a while. So he had the pulse of the people is really what he had. And so he could talk to juries, and he could talk to judges, he could talk to other lawyers. You know, he could talk to anyone. You could follow Andy almost in the news because he was representing all the high-end criminal clients, and he was winning most of those cases.
I think one of the most important parts of Andy's legacy is courage. It's not any one case. Andy took on cases that nobody else wanted to take on, cases that are hard, and that carries a professional toll. It takes your time, but it puts a weight on your heart. And he carried that weight for himself, and he carried it for his clients, and he carried it for the community. Andy's represented somebody accused of terrorism, right? That's a big deal. George Bush designated this guy as an enemy combatant. He was in Guantanamo Bay, and Andy stepped up because people deserve representation.
Most of the people that I was involved with had some goodness, some sparkle somewhere that if you worked hard enough at it, you could uncover. And my deal in the Department of Corrections was to uncover that goodness. In my mind, it wasn't just lock them up and throw the key away and, you know, make them suffer, make them painful. No, give them that chance for redemption. They will find it themselves if you give them the opportunity.
My experience with Andy's a little different. I grew up with him around, right? He was always there. He and my dad were so close.
But he was the guy that I could depend on 24/7, no matter what the issue was. I'll never get over that loss of getting it.
Andy was a prosecutor in Richland County, and then he went to work for the U.S. Attorney's Office. And while Andy was in the U.S. Attorney's Office, his first wife got cancer, and she started to decline. And because of that, he was missing a lot of work. He had to leave the U.S. Attorney's Office, and he and Dad had built a pretty firm friendship by then. And the moment he had to leave the U.S. Attorney's Office, Dad hired him. He said, "You come here, you take as much time as you need to, you go be with your wife, that's what's important, and we'll figure the rest out."
So many people in my life, both in the legal community, the judges, the solicitors, the defense attorneys at that time were just so gracious and helpful and encouraging, because I was going through a pretty tough time, as you can imagine, a young father, widow. It wasn't easy, and a lot of people supported me. And I'm forever grateful to that, from those who gave blood to my wife, to those that, supported me in my struggles.
To talk about Andy, it's hard to not also talk about Cheryl, right? They're a team, and Dad loved to tell everybody that Cheryl was Miss South Carolina in 1974. She and Andy really are a team. They are an inseparable duo, and between the two of them, there's not much they can't do. And I think the two of them together make such a wonderful pair. And it's part of what made Andy such an effective and dangerous trial lawyer, was having somebody who had his back all the time.
But she's been my staunchest supporter since 1986, however many years ago that is, I guess about 40 years. But she supported me not just at home with my family and my personal issues, but she made the office run. And if I was ever in the courtroom, Cheryl was right there with me, thinking ahead of me, thinking independently of me, and encouraging me when I was right and discouraging me when I was wrong.
And my first professional encounter with Andy was when we were working on the AME cases, the Emmanuel 9 cases. And one of the things that struck me was how many people came to Andy for help. And it was the majority of the families, right? Some other people had 1 or 2 clients. I think Andy had 9 of the families. He had most of the survivors.
It just shows the breadth of what he did with people, with the law, with his whole life, prosecution, defense, civil law, everything else, and public service all make him a very special person.